what you see. Make sure to hit the button now to stay updated on when I am up. I have no idea what else to say now, so I just end off this. Welcome to AmberAnkNA, and this is my channel.
Because I'm finally in the mood for it. Here is the only way. Part 1 of 7. That is for the only series. Clock Stories. Here we come. This is my personal favorite place for a story. I have not been my first playthrough story, first live stream story, but it's my favorite one. It's my personal pick for what I will comment. So, is it solid right? The only way. I'm gonna read this only here because it's after the sweetest week of her life, Max Clover was faced with an unfair and difficult decision. Neither choice was ideal. In fact, the choices fucking suck. Either way meant the deaths of both ones. No rewind is possible. Some way, somehow, she chose both. Welcome to your new headcanon. That is what Clock put. Yep, he did that. Hopefully, say you have your own canon like Ryan, but I agree with Carl here. This is my new headcanon. So, it's decided then. Chapter 1. Convergence. First for chapter, it's our pick of a yin and yang type of thing. Well, it's Chloe and Max kissing. You've probably seen it around. Probably seen the Sims around. I know what it means, but you probably seen it around. So, yeah. So I need to do. But anyways, it started. Max was given the power to go back and correct mistakes. A rewind power, she called it. Early on, she tested it by not only fixing things for the better, but by making herself seem smarter, cooler, and more popular. It made her sick to her stomach thinking about that time. She felt naive and ignorant to be so careless. According to her phone's calendar, that time was only about a week ago. It seems like several lifetimes had passed between then and now. She vowed to never manipulate time again without a specific purpose. The only thing that mattered to the photographer in that moment was the past and the present. She no longer cared about the present. She came to the realization a glorious blue butterfly landed on her best friend's grass set. But her moist, educated eyes, she couldn't control the muscles in her face, as her smile was tightening the skin on her cheeks. Peeking through her slightly collapsed lips, the only two thoughts that went through her mind were the kiss they shared in her friend's final moment in the word destiny. Without giving spoilers, will come into more play later. So keep that in mind. Destiny is important. She She would be facing a much different outcome had she not listened to the girl who bade her to forward jump once more in order to save the town from a disastrous storm, sacrificing her best friend in the process. His best friend, who was Mass's favorite person, she would admit, in a most selfish act, give up her life for others. So that's why he considered Chloe Price a hero. Matt knew a little bit about bugs, and she had seen this particular insect once before. Was it a mofo, an Eris, a Marlock, or maybe a hail strike? It didn't matter. She knew what it was. It was blue, and it reminded her of Chloe, who emerged as so much more than just a friend during the pursuit. She definitely didn't deserve to be murdered, bleeding out on the background bathroom floor after being shot. Something else, Chloe at least earned a much better death because of her sacrifice. She was way too special to Mass to end the silly way. Despite her current circumstance, Mass believed she still had an opportunity to save her. She had to try. Wanting to be certain about what she wanted to attempt, she didn't wish it. She didn't wish to do it immediately. She knew she was going to do it soon. She just wasn't sure exactly when. The timing needed to be uply put. She didn't want to fuck things up more than she already had. This time, she would wait for a sign from the universe. This time, things would be different. The week before the funeral was for Blake at Blackwell, and Mass wanted to be back around her family for the time being. She decided to get the hell out of K Bay and live with her parents, so she used the last of her birthday money to hop on a bus with destination for Seattle. So that was the Bayside. That's why that's why Chloe ending. Like the after, anyways. I will close things up if you need wine. There's no, if you don't understand anything and like I can't explain it, wine, ask Quark, because he's made the story, he knows it. So, yeah. But let's go with the Southside K Bay ending, the Bay ending. The white choice ending. The choice was not easy at the end. Sacrificing her best friend, saving her hometown and everyone in it, allowing the sun to eliminate K Bay, saving the one person who meant more to her than her own life. It wasn't as difficult a decision as it might have been for anyone else. But the only thing that mattered to Mass was the present, not the future, not the past. She wanted to be with Chloe, and she didn't want to live in a world without her best friend. The world was too dark for her, and she understood why. She was in love, maybe. She didn't even know Chloe felt the same way. All she knew was that her heart knew was what her heart was telling her. Having saved the girl's lives numerous times already, she was prepared to save her again. And again, and again, and again, and as many times as necessary. After watching the storm destroy what they consumed was everything, and everything in the Caribbean area, Matt and Chloe opened an old beater of a truck and left town, never looking back. They didn't know where they were going. They simply left. However, at least we driving in silence for nearly an hour. Matt asked the driver to head towards Seattle, to her parents' house. She had an idea she wanted to pursue. After what happened to Chloe when she tried to save William, she knew what she planned to do would be dangerous. But she felt extremely guilty and grief-seeking, and she knew her friend felt it too. Could they ever be truly happy with this outcome? It might have been too heavy for both if they didn't at least try and make things right. She could feel the pain eating outward as she looked into her partner's in time, beautiful eyes. It wouldn't come immediately, but she knew the universe would surely let her know when the time was right. She didn't want to fuck things up again, so she would wait for the perfect moment. For now, Seattle was the best place for them. For now, they were together in the present. That's all that mattered. Now back to the other name, the Sasai. Max called her dad first, then her mom. Being around them again helped briefly mend her heart, at least temporarily. She told her parents everything she could, stressing the truth and offering details about what happened. As time travel would have it, Dino asked her to reconnected with Chloe in this timeline. And there was no way in hell they would believe what really happened. Her story involved meeting up with her best friend a week prior to the restaurant shooting. She detailed events such as breaking into tobacco for a night swim, as well as Jocko's junkyard shenanigans and reconnecting with Joyce. They could tell me the little Maxine had grown up tremendously since the last time they saw her. After the insane events of the past 2 weeks or so, the Caulfields didn't want to bombard their daughter with questions. They wanted to be there for support more so than anything else. She seemed more distant than usual, and it was understandable, as her childhood friend had recently been murdered. Max recalled events from the recent time together. She remembered one particular moment where a clarity she wished she didn't have. Closing her eyes, she was whisked back to that place with Chloe in her arms. Her best friend had come into herself, actually bringing out, "Oh, Rachel, no, please not her. How can she be dead? Who does this?" Horrific memory will forever be tattooed in her mind. That smell. God, the smell. Yet, she could never tell anyone about any of it. But she was confronted with a whirlwind of emotions. Empathy, sympathy, helplessness, jealousy, anguish, and so on. I'm okay. The jealousy part felt ridiculous, but there was no denying the fact that she was a little bit jealous of a dead girl. Chloe had loved Rachel Amber so much, and they shared a ton of time together. She wished more than anything she wouldn't have moved away at the moment Chloe needed her the most. Though she couldn't control her family moving, it was still her biggest regret. As Chloe's mother, Lisa Prescott, was apprehended, he informed the authorities about the dark room and Mr. Jefferson's art. It didn't take long for the man to be apprehended and Rachel's body discovered in the junkyard. The news reported there would be no funeral. Despite being a prominent family in the community, the Ambers requested privacy and practically vanished. Who could blame them? The daughter had been missing for months and found murdered by a student and was chased back to Blackwell's photography teacher. They apparently weren't dying about the daughter's whereabouts for months. There was no indication that they had ever been searching for her. Must seem very odd to Max, imagine, and hope her mom and dad would stop at nothing to find her if put in a similar situation. Max's mom, Vanessa, opened her heart the night Max returned home, when he would mention how she regretted monitoring her daughter's test with Chloe after Raymond had passed. At the time, she and Max's father, Ryan, thought it would be best to cut her and Chloe off completely. As understanding as they were most of the time, they practically forbade the freckled girl to speak to her best friend. They knew how close the pair had gotten. As a young teenager, they determined she needed a complete reset to block her from the grief of losing her father figure, allowing her to move on and start over. Max couldn't remember why she lost touch with her Captain Bluebell. She only knew she hated herself for never reaching out. Part of her also hated her parents for their decision. In her heart-to-heart, Max talked with her mother about seeing Chloe's need for each other back then. So she was openly convinced her parents were only doing what they thought was best. Truthfully, she was way too weary to fight anymore, and she knew her plan was to change things anyway. At least now she knew the truth, and when she called Chloe in to tell her why she didn't contact her, she imagined the moment she could finally let her know. It wasn't my fault, Chloe. I wasn't allowed to reach out to you. I'm so sorry. Fuck, I wanted to so badly. Back to the editing, the beginning. Vanessa and Ryan together hugged both girls when they arrived. They squeezed them so tightly she thought they would never let go. They reminded her of when she saw the back of Chloe's head and strained her shoulders after leaving the diamond with her partner in crime asked her to end her life. She was still in shock but overjoyed that the girl was alive and not paralyzed. All she wanted to do was wrap her arms around her blue heel pump and never let her go again. So we never forget the girl's words. Whoa, down, Mass. You get one kiss and now you all over me? You're sound high. Thanks for the morning globe. As his parents, of course, heard about the storm and were worried sick. Chloe's called them from her cell phone as soon as they left for Seattle. Matt's phone had died, and after she charged and turned it back on, it back up the call to herself. Had hundreds of missed calls and texts. So nearly half it were from her parents. They didn't know how bad the storm was and how much damage it caused. Till Matt and Chloe told them about the phone call Chloe received just a few hours prior. David Madison informed them that he didn't think there were any survivors besides his two of them, himself and Victoria's Chase, Matt's old nemesis from Blackwell. He and Vanessa ironically survived in the dark room bunker. Chloe turned the speaker off when her and David started arguing. She heard Chloe saying, I don't give a fuck. We are together. We are leaving. You can wind that shithole for all I care. Before throwing her phone against the desk and hanging up. The events of the week played in a loop in Mass's head as she showered for the first time in what seemed to be several days. The warm water felt night in her hair and on her body, but nothing could have washed the guilt from her heart. What could she have done differently? Should she have given up Chloe to save everyone else? Hell no. No regrets, even though she practically begged Mass to save everyone else. For never let her best friend die sailed and all alone. But something was bothering her. She was given a gift. Why was she chosen to hold this responsibility? Maybe she never know, but what she did know was she still had the power to feel her sense of storm, run for a couple of seconds, just trying it out. She could feel it. It was a part of her, and she a part of it. Max didn't know a lot about her mysterious powers. She only knew she still had it, and because of that, there had to be more work to do. It chose her for some reason. Some reason she had yet to identify. But as long as it was with her, it felt an overwhelming burden. He had an idea, but knew Chloe would be upset, but she felt she needed to do. Chloe finished her shower and laid down beside her. In the morning, Max would tell her, but for now, she only wanted to be in this moment. It occurred to her. She and her partner in crime would need to discuss the relationship at some point. She held off her because her idea might change things again. Look at the way Chloe looked tonight. The moonlight sunny through her window and illuminating the girl's face with shadows articulating her cheekbones. She didn't want to upset the incredible moment. She didn't need a camera. Her eyes were capturing every move the pump made. Tomorrow would be a ring set. One she hoped Chloe would understand. Back to the bay and in joy. Oh, we halfway won. We halfway. I forgot how long these chapters are. Bow, chips, or it's all wonder. Oh boy. The next morning, Asa woke in her bed calling out for Chloe. She was drenched in sweat. Her bed sheets were also saturated. The freckled brunette knew her dreams were peppered with memories of her now deceased best friend. But she couldn't recall much more. When tested her powers every few hours since the sun wake, Mass panicked briefly. She slept much deeper and longer than she thought she would. Her fears were calmed when she realized the power still within her. What was she waiting for? She knew what had happened, and it was only a matter of time before she would hold her favorite person again. A single thought alone kept her going. Finding her phone on the nightstand, Matt saw she had one unread message from an unknown sender. It was 10:07 and the message has been sent at 9:30. Assuming it was someone from Blackwell or Kea Bay, she laid the phone down and decided to shower before reading. So she wasn't in any hurry to deal with answering questions or chatting about the events of the past week. The warm water filled LeMay balls, like panic trails stretched from the back of her head to the bottom of her spine, when she considered she might have made a terrible mistake. She was playing with fate. She was holding on to a hope of reunion and not knowing the exact path, but it was more than just hope. Her love would find a way. After drying off and putting on her typical hipster clothing, Max noticed her mom had left breakfast upstairs on her nightstand. The scent of eggs and bacon always reminded her of Joyce, the place household in the diner. Everything reminded her of Chloe. Her mom was particularly bad at cooking. She just wasn't Joyce. She didn't have the taste Joyce did in the kitchen. Chloe's mom cooked everything to perfection. Max finished her meal and drowned her orange juice. She hadn't realized how thirsty she had become. Laying her empty dishes down, she remembered the message on her phone. She unplugged it and then snuggled back in her warm covers. The sitting kept to open her chest and read the message. Unknown sender. I know who you are. Time Master. You must save everyone. Mouth gaping open in shock and disbelief. It took Max several moments to gather her thoughts. The wheel was spinning. She had to control her mind if she wanted to make sense of things. This is it, she thought, both excited and sad. This was the sign she'd been waiting for. Somehow, she knew what she had to do, though she was terrified, since she was supposed to save the only two she couldn't, Chloe and Waisel. She hated what happened to the blonde, and somehow felt she was leading them along the path during the week of the storm. Forcing herself to not be concerned with the test for the moment, the photographer grabbed a tattered, dusty photo binder from her bookshelf. The binder housed photos of her and Chloe's private adventures from when they were kids. She was frightened yet excited. The last time she jumped back to that area, So the main scenes was for her best friend. This time would be different. It had to be. Flipping through the endless photos, endless pages, the history found the photos he was looking for. On one of the rare occasions, Chloe stayed at the Caulfield house. Ryan took a photo of them in front of the Christmas tree, which was set up adjacent to the fireplace. Chloe had her tongue out and giving her friend bunny ears while Master smiled and oblivious to the fingers behind her head. She laid the photo on her bed and began to focus. The distinct sounds of a young pirate captain laughing filled her ears so much a tear slid down her cheek. Breathing staggering as he attempted to catch control breath of air. Swallowing inhaled properly, focusing once more on what she had set out to do. As Ruby began to blink, Aiken flayed out around her. She could barely speak. Chloe. My Chloe. We'll be back together soon. And now for the bay ending side of things. Woohoo! Matt did not even remember falling asleep. She knew Chloe slept in her room, in her bed, before last week. They haven't slept together since they were children. Familiar, yet new and curious. They still haven't talked much since the storm, which was uncharacteristic of the duo. But given the traumatic events of the previous week, it made sense. Both girls were comfortable with each other. They could sit in silence and not have to say a word. Upon waking, the freckled brunette noticed her friend's body resting against hers in the big spoon position. Home was draped across masses as if protecting her from evil forces. Mass attempted to wiggle out of her little spoon position as she noticed a text on her phone. She saw the message was sent by an unknown sender at 9:30, and it now was 10:07. Since everyone she loved was still alive, was safe and sound in this house, she figured the message could wait a little longer. She also wanted to lay down and gaze at her partner as she slept. Max felt more like a kid at Christmas, anxiously waiting to open her presents. She couldn't wait to meet Chloe's glorious bruised eyes the second she awoke him. The only thing she wanted was to be right there with her. But the same nagging feeling kept creeping back in her mind. Max got up and located the tattered, dusty photo binder on the bookshelf she used as a sort of shrine for what she considered some of the best days of her life. Captain Bluebeard and Lord Master Silver took hundreds of photos together. A master searched for one specific photo. Chloe really stayed the night at the Caulfield's house, so this one was extra special in the mass. It was also Christmas, one of her favorite times of the year. By the time she found the photo, her bestie had woken up. The soda girl hugged her taller friend and lovingly explained what she needed to do. Chloe did not like the idea of mass photoshopping. She used phrases such as, "Fuck that, I will not let you leave me again," and "No fucking way, Max Caulfield, I am not letting you go." But in the end, she left the decision up to the photographer. And though she was terrified of what might happen, she knew Max had to do it. The bond was too strong for a little thing like time getting in their way. They created their own fate many times and would do so again. Knew Chloe was by her side. Max considered letting it go. All she wanted was to be with her Captain Bluebeard. But the grief and regrets she felt for the people lost in the storm was nearly unbearable. Then, when she remembered the text, Max decided to check her phone. When she saw what was sent, she stared in disbelief, mouth hanging open for several seconds. Unknown sender. I know who you are, Time Master. You must save everyone. Excuse me. Jeez. I'm okay. Ugh, don't know what that was from. Max knew what she needed to do. She hoped she could save a KB, of course. But there was one person she specifically felt she left behind. One person she didn't save. She and Chloe spent a lot of time trying to solve the Anksters' disappearance, only to find he had been murdered. If Baxter had the power to go back in time, shouldn't she at least try to save the girl? Her favorite person was still of something even more terrible happening in the house, and her concern felt nice. And she felt the warmth of Chloe's love considering through her. It made her feel happy. A sense of comfort washed through the time traveler as she watching Chloe beg her not to go back again. Go back and not to go back again. Clock? Yeah, I need to let Clock know about that. Beg her not to go back again, even if there was a chance she could save Chloe. The photographer knew a little bit about Rachel and Chloe's past, but she didn't know much. She believed the two of them were romantically involved, though it was never outright stated by Chloe. It seemed like Rachel may have broken it off and had a chance with the local drug dealer, Frank Bowers. Max knew how Chloe reacted, saying she had betrayed when she found out about Frank. It was also a fucked up rumor that Rachel hooked up with Mr. Jefferson. A stony chill went through her as that psycho's name bounced around her head. And though Nathan accidentally killed Rachel in an overdose, Jefferson might as well have, as he manipulated the troubled boy. Taking her head, clear of mind, Max quickly tucked those far away. Her choice was clear. Max had decided to go back and to try and save the one person that could potentially drive a wedge between her and the girl she recently realized she was in love with. The final piece to her idea would easily be the biggest twist. Typically, she might feel that she was already taking a who's west by photodropping at all. But this plan involved potentially harming Chloe, and that was a risk she never wanted to take. Sorry about that, Brian. I had to just stop for a few seconds. After showing Chloe the test, having a brief scramble about its meaning, and explaining her idea fully, both girls were on board. It was like they were pirates again, heading off on an adventure. Before they left, the captain would tax and tood and impulsively asked her first mate for a kiss before departure. It felt more like an all-the-glory goodbye type request, but Walnut Silver wanted to feel the girl's lips on her again, badly. The first time was a deal that didn't last very long, as he remembered how cute Chloe was when she panicked and fell away. Chloe placed both hands on either of Max's cheek and quickly pulling her close, her head clicking inward, with two sets of eyes closed, the lips in together and locked in place. It felt tender and sweet, and seemed to last forever. A torrent of electricity percolated through the photographer's body. At the end, they were thus staring into each other's eyes, blue reflecting blue, tears beginning to fail. Not because they were not afraid, but mainly because of their still awareness of each other's unconditional love. It was perfect. After slowly pulling away, Mouse clenched the photo with one arm. The other wrapped around Coy. Slowly and forcing on the photo, Mouse noticed the wheel blinking in and out of the distance. Perspiration sweat then recreates as it had with each photo jump to the experience. He heard the laughter of a younger version of Chloe. She audibly gasped like the wind had been knocked out of her uncertainly, and its excitement filled her heart, and the two girls fade out. And now we got a photo of Matt and Chloe focusing on the photo. Now we go to the seal timeline. Well, because of the photo drop. Joy. Whoa! Massive, it's maths exam game. As a sense of balsam and cinnamon filled her nostrils, the camel blinded her with a bright white flash for a moment. Before she could fully react, she felt a tight squeeze around her shoulders. Maths! Oh God, maths! Chloe called out, not loosening her grip in the slightest. This is wild! She looked around, mouth hanging open in disbelief, looking at her arms and hands and body. Her mind while filled with thought. Her mind filled with thought, even her voice sounded different. Mine with the young girl's curiosity. You know you two have been together every day for like 2 months straight, right? How you keep that answering for each other? I never know. He chuckled as he removed his Santa hat and left the room, disappearing into the perimeters of the photo. Maybe the two of us could run from them, Vanessa playfully commented from the distance. Marie sounding wobbled and muffled. Holding each other tightly, the two pilots sat down on the couch, admiring each other's younger bodies. They didn't want to let go, but Mass knew it wouldn't last long. God, I can't believe you just jumped at me, Mass waited after removing her eye patch. There was so much she wanted to say, but she knew she only had a brief few moments before they'd be back in the present. We don't have much time. I've all felt more potent the last week or so, but this seemed insane. This part usually involves a jump to the present with me not remembering what happened. Remember? This part usually involves a jump to the present with me not remembering what happened. You remember? After the rehearsal party? Upon hearing herself mention the party, she wasn't sure if it actually happened or if Chloe was even alive at the time. Tails were forming in Mass's adjacent eyes, and she wasn't sure if she could hold them back. The sense of urgency was almost overwhelming, and her blood pumped heavy beneath her skin. He needed to do something right now to slightly change things. Change what happened away, so damn it, think, Mass. What if we write ourselves a note? Our future selves? Chloe calmly asked, moving her shoulders towards her heels in a comforting motion. Max usually had to try and figure things out alone, but this was a new experience. She felt a sense of comfort and trust in knowing Chloe was there with her. Looking deep in the taller girl's clear blue eyes, she smiled and she knew everything would be fine. Considering for a moment, Max replied, "That could work, but we need to make sure things only change casually. Otherwise," she didn't want to think about it. "I can't see you in pain in the wheelchair again, Chloe." The memories she wished she could forget, but those type of memories were starting to pile up. "I can't watch you die again." "Mom!" The freckled brunette called out. "Will you help us?" Vanessa appeared and both the girls. Of course, what do you need? Her hands were on her hips, elbow pointing outward. Will you bring us an envelope and some paper? We want to write ourselves a note. Then you put it somewhere safe. Mail it to Chloe a week before her 19th birthday. Sort of like a time travel? Oh, is that all? Mrs. Bob giggled. Let me get right on that. Mom, please! This is super important. Please! Mom looked at her mother directly in her eyes. Her seriousness was received in a convincing manner. Okay, sweetie. Vanessa left and returned with an envelope, a pen, and a piece of notebook paper. Here's a sticky note too. Despite what you want me to do, I do it. She walked away, disappearing again into the distance, leaving the two girls to themselves. Max quickly and thoughtfully wrote a letter on the notebook paper, put it in an envelope and sealed it, and added Chloe's address to the front, and attached the sticky note with its reference. Chloe, this has to work. This has to. The little girl squeezed her friend and kissed her on the cheek. You fucker, it worked. That's $1 for the trail jar. Max giggled through uncontrolled sobs as the edges of reality began to burn out of existence. I love you so much, Chloe Price. I love you so fucking much, Max Caulfield. Another $1 for the trail jar. So was year passed. They moved from McKay to Seattle because of what? Now, they uprooted their young teenage daughter and abandoned everything they had knew. Vanessa felt terrible about forcefully ending the relationship between her and her daughter and her best friend. It wasn't like she insisted on the friendship ending. The Max would begin at a new school in a new town and needed to completely start over. It seemed right at the time, but she didn't know if it was anymore. Max's best friend and had just lost her father, who happened to be a really good role model and father figure for the girl. They unfortunately had to leave Oregon the same day as William's funeral, still dressed in the nice blacks. She should have at least allowed her daughter to stay with Chloe during that time, at least another week or so. She should have encouraged texting, phone calls, even a visit or two, not prevented them from contact. They felt the death in Max's life would sorely impact the girl, and this seemed to be the correct plan of action. One day, when she was clearing the garage, Sarita dropped an envelope containing a letter and an unopened moving box. Things has been hectic around that time, and this one had only been put aside and forgotten. When realizing what it was, he knew what he had to do. But order asked her to send it to the friends she would immediately be forced to leave behind. Realizing what it there was a sticky note with the lesson still actually attached to the front. Timing couldn't have been much better. The note, written in Max's young teenage handwriting, indicated the letter should be mailed on March 11th of that year. Currently, it was March 2nd. This would be Vanessa's May goal of the next week. So she was determined to fulfill her daughter's wishes in an attempt to make things right. Ugh. I'm gonna read the notes before ending this, as I need reading for almost 45 minutes. My ship sails from sight. It doesn't mean my journey ends. Simply means the river bank ends per well. This chapter was almost a prologue since it swirls around like a tornado until the two endings are merged. Thank you for reading and hope you stick around. The ride had just begun. Ugh.